What happens when a franchise that promised contention suddenly throws open the vault and invites the entire league to come shopping? Welcome to the most fascinating garage sale in hockey, folks. The Vancouver Canucks. Yes, that Vancouver team that rode the euphoria of last season's playoff push have just hung a massive everything-must-go sign above their locker room. And the hockey world is circling like sharks sensing blood in Pacific waters. Frank Saravalli dropped the bomb earlier this week. Vancouver has officially notified all 31 teams that veteran players are available. Elliotte Friedman quickly clarified that Quinn Hughes remains untouchable, but that caveat only sharpens the intrigue. This isn't a full teardown. This is surgical extraction, a franchise attempting to salvage its future by liquidating its present. The message is unmistakable. We miscalculated. Now we're cashing out. And honestly, it's about damn time. The anatomy of a retool gone sideways. Let's establish context before we dissect the merchandise. Vancouver entered this season with legitimate playoff aspirations, buoyed by Elias Pettersson's star power, Quinn Hughes' Norris-caliber brilliance, and a supporting cast that looked, on paper, capable of competing in the brutal Pacific Division. Instead, they've stumbled through inconsistency, defensive breakdowns, and the kind of maddening mediocrity that forces management hand. The veterans who were supposed to provide stability have either underperformed, aged out of relevance, or become expendable luxuries on a team that desperately needs draft capital and prospect depth. So now, with the trade deadline looming like an executioner's blade, Vancouver finds itself in the uncomfortable position of auctioning off pieces while trying to maintain the illusion of competitiveness. It's a tightrope walk over a canyon of organizational uncertainty, and the whole league is watching to see who falls first. The Magnificent Eight. Vancouver's trade bait bonanza. Let's break down the veterans who could realistically be wearing different jerseys by spring, ranked by trade value and market appeal. 1. Filip Hronek, the crown jewel age, 26 cap hit, reasonable for his production stats, 13 points, 2,400 hours, 24 average ice time trade value. Extremely high Filip Hronek isn't just available, he's the centerpiece of Vancouver's entire fire sale. A right-shot defenseman, logging nearly 25 minutes per night with legitimate offensive instincts? That's playoff gold, my friends. Contenders will be lining up with first-round picks and premium prospects. The catch? Moving Hronek creates a crater-sized hole on Vancouver's blue line. Without him, their defensive structure collapses faster than a house of cards in a windstorm. But if management is serious about accumulating assets, Hronek represents their best opportunity to land a package that could reshape their organizational depth chart. Potential return: first-round pick plus top prospect plus roster player 2. Kiefer Sherwood, the Energizer Bunny age, 30 cap hit, bargain basement stats, 16 points in 23 games trade value. High for depth piece Kiefer Sherwood has been Vancouver's most pleasant surprise this season, a relentless forechecking machine with surprising offensive touch. He's the kind of player playoff teams covet. Affordable, versatile, capable of playing anywhere in the bottom six, and possessing the motor of a caffeinated squirrel. Sherwood won't fetch a king's ransom, but he'll absolutely command a mid-round pick or a solid organizational prospect. For contenders needing depth scoring without sacrificing cap flexibility, he's the perfect rental. Potential return: third-round pick or B-level prospect 3. Connor Garland, the undervalued workhorse age, 28 cap hit, cost-controlled stats, 13 points, elite play-driving metrics trade value. Solid Connor Garland has been on Vancouver's trade block longer than some players have been in the league. The diminutive winger consistently drives possession, brings infectious energy, and provides reliable middle six production. His analytics are gorgeous, the kind that make advanced stats nerds weep with joy. Vancouver's been shopping him for over a year, but his strong start this season might finally yield the return management has been seeking. Teams needing a cost-effective winger who can stabilize their second line will absolutely come calling. Potential return: high second-round pick or quality roster player 4. Jake DeBrusk, the playoff pedigree play age, 29 cap hit, middle six appropriate stats, slower start but proven postseason performer trade value. Moderate to high, Jake DeBrusk's regular season numbers might not scream must-have, but his playoff resume speaks volumes. Speed, versatility, secondary scoring, and the experience of deep postseason runs make him an attractive target for contenders looking to fortify their second line. He's the sneaky good acquisition that doesn't make headlines, but wins championships. Teams will inquire, especially if Vancouver retains salary. Potential return, second-round pick, or mid-tier prospect 5. Tyler Myers, the veteran stabilizer age, 35 cap hit. $3 million reasonable for his role. Stats, 20-plus minutes nightly, stay-at-home reliability trade value. Moderate Tyler Myers is the classic deadline defenseman rental, big body, long reach, defensive responsibility, and playoff experience. He won't wow anyone with offensive creativity, but he'll eat minutes, block shots, and provide the kind of steady presence playoff teams crave on their third pairing. With salary retention, Myers becomes an even more attractive option for capstrap contenders. Potential return, mid-round pick, or depth prospect 6. Evander Kane, the high-risk, high-reward gamble age, 33 cap hit, requires retention consideration stats, 11 points physical presence trade value. Situational Evander Kane remains one of hockey's most polarizing figures, a talented power forward with scoring, touch, physicality, and playoff experience, but also baggage that makes some teams hesitant. His value depends entirely on fit and how much salary Vancouver is willing to retain. For teams needing an injection of toughness and secondary scoring, Kane could be a difference maker. For others, he's a pass. Potential return, variable anywhere from third-round pick to nothing 7. Elias Pettersson, the untouchable, probably age, 27 stats, 20 points in 23 games trade value. Astronomical if available. Let's be clear, Pettersson isn't being shopped, but teams will absolutely call. A 27-year-old franchise center with elite offensive instincts, that's the kind of asset that could command a blockbuster package rivaling historical trades. However, moving Pettersson would signal full rebuild mode, something Vancouver appears desperate to avoid. Unless something drastic changes, he's staying put alongside Hughes. Potential return, multiple first-round picks plus elite prospects, hypothetically 8. The depth pieces, sweeteners, and throw INS Drew O'Connor, Ada Rady, Linus Karlsson. These younger depth players won't headline trades, but they'll absolutely be included as sweeteners in larger packages. Ada Rady, with 6 points in 21 games, carries sneaky developmental value as a bottom 6 forward project. Potential return, package inclusions to sweeten larger deals. The strategic calculus. What's Vancouver really doing? Here's where things get fascinating from a front office perspective. Vancouver isn't tanking, they're threading the needle between competitiveness and asset accumulation. They're betting they can move veterans, stockpile picks and prospects, and remain relevant around Hughes and Pettersson. It's an audacious strategy that could either position them for sustained success or leave them trapped in mediocrity's purgatory. The execution will determine everything. If they maximize returns on Hronek, Sherwood, and Garland, they could add significant organizational depth. If they panic sell or accept underwhelming packages, they'll have gutted their roster for pennies on the dollar. The next few weeks will define Vancouver's trajectory for the next half-decade. The contender's perspective, who's buying? From a buyer's standpoint, Vancouver represents a golden opportunity. Teams needing top 4 defensemen. Hronek is your guy depth scoring. Sherwood and Garland fit perfectly playoff experience. DeBrusk and Kane bring postseason pedigree defensive stability. Myers provides veteran presence. Expect teams like Colorado, Carolina, Dallas, and yes, even Toronto to kick tires on multiple pieces. Vancouver's willingness to move veterans creates a buyer's market, but only if they maintain leverage and refuse to be lowballed. The verdict: Vancouver's calculated gamble. The Canucks have opened Pandora's box, and there's no closing it now. By publicly signaling availability, they've invited scrutiny, speculation, and aggressive negotiation from every corner of the league. This could be brilliant asset management, extracting maximum value while maintaining competitive relevance. Or it could be organizational desperation masquerading as strategy. Either way, The next chapter of Vancouver's story will be written in trade calls, draft picks, and the ghosts of veterans who once wore the Orca. The fire sale has begun. The question isn't whether Vancouver will sell, it's whether they'll get fair value for what they're offering. So here's my question for you. Which veteran brings the most value in a trade, and which contender makes the boldest move? Drop your predictions in the comments below. I want to hear your hottest takes on who's moving where and what packages make sense. And if you're enjoying this breakdown of Vancouver's fascinating predicament, smash that like button and let's keep this conversation rolling. The trade deadline is approaching fast, and the Canucks just made themselves the most interesting team to watch.